Good morning. Okay, my name is Dr. Cheryl West, and I'd like to start by um, giving honor to the Most High, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And today we celebrate Veterans Day. And more specifically, we are here, at least I am here, to recognize a veteran, attorney Tonya Sweat, who served in the United States Air Force from 1997 to 2004. There are so many things I want to say about this awesome veteran woman, and I'm just going to start by saying that she is a national servant as we talk about servants. And in this role as a national servant and veteran, she served as a commissioner for a commissioned officer and a judge advocate. In addition to that, she represented the Air Force administrative cases, and she was a judge advocate. Now, we need advocates now, don't we? Okay? All right. She also received several distinguished awards, which include the Defense Meritorious Service Award, the Air Force Meritorious Service Award, and the Air Force Commendation Medal. Now, in addition to being recognized for her military service, she is also a public servant, okay, where she has served as a chief prosecuting attorney, a defense attorney, a federal employee and manager, a staff attorney, and she worked in the area of finance with the finance regulator, and she wrote federal statutes. And she ended her illustrious career as a public servant in 2014, where she was the director of a national fair housing lender and consumer compliance program. Now, also what I want to say about our veteran, our public servant, she is also a servant leader. And by this I mean she has served on local and state PTAs. Now, we know how important education is, and we know how important education is. And so taking that role, being an advocate and being a public servant, and being not only a public servant but a servant leader, there are some other things that we're going to add to it. She was a board member for the South County Economic Development Association, the Coalition for Public Safety Training in Schools, and she's also served on the Maryland State Department of Education on several committees. Digital learning, student data privacy, and the teacher selection for commendation. Now, throughout her career, Attorney Sweat has been a consummate public servant, servant leader, and today, she is taking off her hat and taking another courageous step to run for public office. Now, what I want to say is three things in closing, because I think I only have like 3 minutes, right? I got 3 minutes, all right, got 3 minutes. But there are three things that I'd like to leave you with, because this is really important. When Attorney Sweat, as a servant leader, there are things that I see within her that I know that we need in this county. First of all, she is authentic. She is authentic. And by that, I mean she has integrity, she is ethical, and she is honest. The other thing, she is committed. And by commitment, I mean that she is consistent. And then the other thing that I see about Attorney Sweat in her run is that she is a transformative thinker. And today we need transformative thinkers to make the change that we need to make in our one community. So with that said, I am honored to speak, to say Happy Veterans Day. I have 2 brothers who have been in the military, Army, and Air Force. She is a veteran, so I have high esteem for veterans, and I just appreciate the fact that Attorney Sweat is stepping out as a veteran, a public servant, and a servant leader. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I'm Hazel Robinson. I'm president of the Tantalus Square Civic Association and the president of the Tantalus Square Homeowners Association and the president for the Alliance of Greater County Transparency. I'm wearing 3 hats. But most of all, I am a neighbor. And I just appreciate being a part of the Fort Washington community. Welcome to Tantalon and the Fort Washington area. We are happy to host this community event as we honor veterans, honor being Americans, honor being Marylanders, being Prince Georgians, and honor Tonya Sweat, a proud veteran herself. Happy Veterans Day to all those brave men and women who served so honorably in peace and war, and especially the 60,000 Prince Georgian veterans providing guard, watch, and security to keep our democracy strong and safe. The veterans' service is priceless and so valuable, and I want to say thank you for all your service and sacrifice, and God bless you. I heard of Ms. Sweat back on June 30th during the Alliance for Greater County Transparency demonstration at the groundbreaking ceremony for the proposed Southern K-8 school that is scheduled to be built a block away. But the ceremony was held at Potomac Landing Elementary School. I did not really see her that day, but I heard this. She is running for county executive and she wants to help us. I immediately felt encouraged because up to that point, our protests, including the one at the groundbreaking ceremony, objections, emails, letters, town hall meetings were just falling on deaf ears and no response other than, oh, you are against education, and oh, you are going to love the school. We formed the Alliance for Greater County Transparency simply because we were not being heard and there was a lack of accountability and transparency in the P3 process and school board deliberations regarding building 6 new schools for the county, of which the Southern K-8 school was one of them. You cannot tell it now, but there were 23 acres of a beautiful forest, and we loved our trees and wanted to save them. We wanted the K-8 school built at the Potomac Landing Elementary site for a number of good reasons. As you can see, we have not been successful, and our beloved forest, Swan Creek Forest, has been decimated. I later met and talked with Ms. Sweat, and I got her assurance that she will help us, and she has, inquiring on our behalf, making phone calls, talking to federal officials, writing emails, and informing me of what she learned. Tonya Sweat is a woman of action and not talk. She has a love for God's people, and I believe that she will honor her word. She is trustworthy. She has the skill sets, leadership skills, desire to help us, and she will listen. She will make an excellent county executive for Prince George's County, and we should vote for her. You have not heard the last of me. I believe that Tonya Sweat cares about you, me, and our quality of life in Prince George's County. Her preliminary report card is this: trustworthiness, A; accountability, A; transparency, A; leadership, A; final grade, A. I urge you to support Ms. Sweat's candidacy and vote for her because change is good. Change is good for Prince George's County. Thank you.
Greetings, Prince Georgians. How y'all doing out here today? First, I want to give an honor and salute to you, to all of my veterans who have paved the way for young individuals like myself to be here. You have put your time, your effort, you have sacrificed your family, and I want to say this: if you want change, get yourself a veteran. If you want change, get yourself a public servant. Amen. Tonya Sweat is a general. She's not just talk, but she's someone that's about action. As a constituent and a public servant myself, and as a clergy, We have served in what I like to call the trenches, uh, meaning the overlooked, the marginalized, the stigmatized, the ones that are often not valued. I knew that Tonya Sweat was a person of change when we showed up back in the beginning of the year, back in February, at our beloved men's shelter. I know a lot of people they avoid the topic of the vulnerable population. We got candidates using vulnerable population, but I don't like vulnerable population. Let's call it what it is: unhoused. Let's call it what it is: homeless. We do have an issue here in Prince George's County, despite what we think, with all of its gorgeousness and beauty. But one of the things that stood out to me when I came in contact with Miss Tonya Sweat was she gets the stuff done. You have candidates running now, and they're talking about what they're going to do. We don't need that. We need candidates that are doing. She's a candidate that is doing. Needless to say, when we had our project, our men's shelter had holes where rats was chewing inside the very foundation. Mold, not running water, so people could not bathe. People could not take a shower. As a matter of fact, since the pandemic, it's been going on for almost 2 years now, no food was coming into this facility. But when me and Miss Tonya rolled our sleeves up, we have made sure that our black brothers, our African American brothers, our veterans, our handicapped individuals have gotten the necessary supportive services. If you want change, Tonya Sweat is your candidate. She's a person of servitude. She does not mind working. She's your candidate. And I don't say this about a lot of candidates. And I have said this on public record. I've never endorsed a candidate at all. Since I have been a resident of Prince George's County, I've never endorsed a candidate. But Tonya Sweat, this is one candidate that I am proudly to endorse.
All right.
If you want change, vote for Tonya Sweat. Thank you. I'm now going to introduce Miss Sandra Mason.
Good morning. I want to first say I really hate using a microphone, but I'm gonna do my best. But I want to say, first of all, I want to say thank you to all those that have served, those that are continuing to serve, and those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. Because without those individuals, there are a lot of roads that we wouldn't have available or open to us, any of us. And I want to say, again, thank you to those individuals that have served for us, to those veterans. Okay? So, I don't like public speaking, as you can tell.
You're doing a great job.
I like to be behind the curtain, but at any rate, you know, one of the things that I think is very important, and I'll back it up and give you a little bit of history. I'm a Texas native, and I moved to Maryland by way of a PCS requirement. I took a tour here, and I do have family that live in Virginia, in the state of Virginia, Richmond, North Carolina, all along the East Coast. And so once I finished my tour, I said, I'll stay because it'll give me an opportunity to be close to my family. and see family that I've never known. So I did that. And I kind of moved from one side of the DMV to another periodically over 4 years, and then I decided to buy property. And so I bought in Akakeek. And you know, as we all know, in our neighborhoods, we go in our homes and we don't come out, you know, and or we wave to our neighbor and we don't really know them, but we just wave at them. And so when I met Miss Wet, and I'm just going to say, I have a hard time calling her Miss Wet because she's my neighbor too, but when I met Tonya, her daughter was a baby, you know, so that's almost 12, 13 years ago. And so she was just kind of pushing her up and down the street in the stroller, and I waved, hey, how are you? And then I wanted to talk to her for a brief to get some info about the neighborhood, and that was that. So we still kept the wave going on and things like that through the years, and I said, look out for me when I'm, you know, here, or look out for my home. And she's always been that neighbor that you want to have next door to you, you know, so I could depend on Tonya to come over and take my dogs out, whatever I needed, she was there. And so through the years, I encountered some issues on a government level, and I realized that, you know, sitting in my house, I was like, oh, who am I going to talk to? I need somebody. I need an attorney. And then I realized again, I said, oh, my neighbor's an attorney. Let me march right over there and see what she can do for me. And so I went over and I talked to her, and she said, I got you. And I still wasn't feeling like I was going to be taken care of because it was a big task. But I can say that Tonya took care of me, and Tonya went after what she needed to go after, and she became, as some would say, the kids would say, the pit bull that I needed at that particular time. And I appreciate that. And she took the lead. She was about action. She told me not to worry. She got it. I got you. And so I think that when I look back on that, all the signs of a true leader existed in my neighbor. And some of the things that you have to be an effective leader, you know, I'd like to point out is that they're self-aware. And I believe that Tonya is very self-aware of what she needs to do, what she needs to do in terms of her community, in terms of a broader level. She needs to know that she can develop others, which I think she has done that, because she's looking at the grassroots level, and she takes the support of those individuals like you and me. You know, we're not politicians. We don't walk out every day and put our suit on and say what we're going to go do. We're just everyday people who live in our community, and we want change. We want to see things change. We want to have better roads. We want to have better schools. I mean, my kids are grown, but I still see the little kids, and that's why I live in the neighborhood that I live in, because I want to make sure that those little kids receive what my children receive. And I know that by her leadership, we have that opportunity. And so another part of being an effective leader, which I think Tonya garnishes these skills very well, you have to be strategic, and you have to be innovative, and you have to be about action. And we all know that she's about action, and I can give firsthand testament to that, because I can tell you those years when I was dealing with what I needed to deal with, and she took the baton and took care of it, I wouldn't be standing here if it had not been for her action and her taking care of me. And so you have to be ethical, you know, and you got to be civic minded. You know, Tonya is probably the most ethical person that I've ever known. And I'm going to be blunt. I'll say things like, well, why can't we do this? Well, why can't I write it that way? And she's like, no, we're not doing that. This is how we're going to do it. And she got the job done. And most importantly, you need to be cross-cultural in your communications. Tonya's open to everyone. And we are about everyone. That's what community is. Community is not just me and you, it's everybody in that community. And she's very adamant about being cross-cultural, very informative, and making sure her communications lead to that. And so, having said all that, I would say that Tonya is the person that I'm going to support when it comes time to go to those election polls. She's the person that I want to see standing on the forefront of making change in Prince George's County. I got my pet peeves, and they're little to some, but they're major to me. You know, when I drive down 210, I want to be proud driving down 210. I want to know why my grass is not cut out there or the trash isn't picked up. Where are our workers? You know, where are the people that we're paying salaries to every day? We need to be accountable. And I think with Tonya's leadership, her drive, determination, she's going to be the one to make everybody accountable for us in Prince George's County. So having said that, thank you very much. I'm all about Miss Sweat. I'll be followed by Mr. Fred Comerford. All right.
Good morning. And happy Veterans Day to everyone. My name is Fred Pomeroy.
Just bring it a little closer.
Hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now? Yeah. My name is Fred Pomeroy. My wife and I came to Prince George's County back in 1971. We've raised our family here, and so we feel like this is our native land. Right now, we live in a community that's designated as 55 and older. But that doesn't mean that we're all in our late 50s. Some of us are in our 80s, like myself. Some are even older. Most of us are veterans in one form or another, or the spouses of veterans. Some disabled. We have a lot of retired policemen in our community. In short, what I'm trying to say is that all of us in that little community have paid our dues in one way or another. And now, in our declining years, we feel like we deserve, or at least I feel this way, that we deserve some small portion of respect. And in that regard, we have been having a marginal amount of problem getting answers to some of our questions from the current administration regarding taxes and this new zoning thing that's going on. Ms. Sweat, a fellow veteran, understands our situation and has promised to take up the gauntlet for our cause and to champion our cause. And therefore, I cannot do anything else except endorse her candidacy 100%. Thank you. I'd like now to I'd like to turn the microphone over to Ms. Jane Taylor Thomas. Also a veteran, I might add.
Thank you, thank you. Can everyone hear me? All right, why don't you wipe that off? Good morning, Prince Georgians and visitors. I thought members of the press was going to be here, but I don't see any press members, so I'm going to skip that. I wish to commend those veterans who defend our country, both foreign and domestic. As you know, from the way I'm dressed,
I'm Army strong. I am Jane Taylor Thomas, President and CEO of the South County Economic Development Association, known as CEDA. I am representing myself as a citizen of the county for over 50 years and not CEDA. CEDA provides community-based leadership and planning for economic growth and development in Prince George's and Charles counties. CEDA is a major stakeholder and an organization of record on issues having an economic impact on the quality of life that is experienced by citizens in the community. Before I talk about my candidate, I'd like to review the duties and responsibilities of the county executive. She or he has the power to formulate all county policies, install and remove county positions, develop a county budget, and approve or veto proposed ordinances or resolutions. However, the county executive is required to submit his or her proposals to the county council or legislature for review. As you hear my candidates' extraordinary military and civilian experiences, you will say, let's build a stronger Prince George's County together and vote for Tonya Sweat as your next county executive. Do I hear yelling?
Yeah.
Combination of military and civilian experiences, Tonya exceeds all qualifications as required for the county executive. As an attorney, educator, retired military officer, leader, and a manager of a multi-million-dollar budget, Tonya Sweat demonstrates a high degree of integrity, determination, and drive to serve as county executive of Prince George's County. Currently, the county has major management issues that continues to exist. However, Ms. Sweat and her team will roll up their sleeves and tackle healthcare, economic development, public safety, environmental injustice, as well as human resources, budgetary, and transportation issues. Therefore, I am endorsing Ms. Sweat because of her unique management skills to handle difficult issues throughout her career. Tonya is committed to serving the community. She is currently the Vice President and life member of CEDA. Recently, she served as Vice President for Advocacy, Maryland Parent Teachers Association, on behalf of the children in the state. Her abilities to increase accountability in the county's struggling school system will resolve several parent problems within the Prince George's County School Board and Management. Her legal and ethical experiences at the federal, state, and local levels will enable her to accomplish the goals and objectives of a successful county. Tonya's managerial skills will generate effective solutions to multi-organizational and county-wide problems. Let us build a stronger Prince George's County together and vote for Tonya Sweat. Let's hear it. Thank you. Am I supposed to introduce somebody? Oh, I don't. On behalf of Tonya Sweat, her lively partner, Mr. Terry Sweat.
Thank you, Ms. Jane. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our speaker. Before I do, allow me to say this. The people of Prince George's County want change. That's that word. That's that word, huh? Change. And it's time for change. And with the help of the ladies and gentlemen of Prince George's County, like Sam Cooke said in one of his songs, a change is coming. I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come out and lend an ear, express your thoughts, and support change in and for our community, our county and community. I welcome you to one of many county connections with our speaker today. It is with overwhelming pride that I introduce you to our guest of honor today, a person who has affected change, can affect change, will affect change in the county. Her actions has shown that she will roll up her sleeves and her pants leg, put on some mud boots, and get down and dirty to work for the people of Prince George's County. Her 3 C's engagement will make you think and feel encouraged to listen and be involved. As you heard, she served in the United States Air Force as a lawyer, as a judge advocate. She was a prosecutor and a defense attorney. She is still serving the community as a lawyer today. She was PTA president of Oxon Hill High, the vice president for Maryland PTA. She is a sister, a big sister, a friend to many, and the best part of all, she's a wife, my wife. A mother and a parent that feels the same strains and issues within this county as you do. I could go on and on about Tonya Sweat, but I want y'all to at least go home and have lunch and dinner. So we'll keep this kind of short. Again, thank you all for your time, your ear, your patience, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Tonya Sweat.
Let's go, Tonya! Let's go, Tonya!
Good day, good day, good day. And I'm going to use my military voice. So what the mic doesn't do, hopefully my vocal cords will. To today's mistress of ceremony, Dr. Cheryl West. Thank you. Thank you. To our hostess, Mrs. Hazel Robinson, and the residents of Tantalon Square, thank you for your hospitality. To the speakers on the program, you all have given me the honor of seeing my eulogy live. I thank you. To my first gentleman, Mr. Terry Sweat, and along with him, I have to acknowledge my bonus daughters. I have 4 of them, and our 2 children who are in school, one at college and one over at Acton Creek Academy who couldn't be here with us today. I have to acknowledge my babies, my family, because without them, I couldn't do this. I would not do this without them. To the Prince Georgians in the audience, thank you for being here today. I know you could have been down on the mall watching the famous veterans, the more famous veterans, shall I say, hanging out with the federal dignitaries, but you thought it not robbery to come hang out with me on Fort Washington Road. And for that, I am truly grateful. It means more to me than my words will ever express. To the members of the press, I got one here. Those of you who couldn't come for whatever reason, I hope you see this on the internet. I want to thank you too, because I know eventually you're going to want to talk to me. You're going to want to hear from me. And I want you to know I welcome you. My door is open. Trust me, I understand what's going on more than you will ever say. So it's okay. And I have to especially acknowledge, celebrate, and thank my brothers and sisters in arms today. To all of you, I say, Happy Veterans Day. I want to thank my community for celebrating my service and the service of others. What we do for the nation, for the state, for the county, for our local communities is very selfless. We sacrifice time with our families and friends, but we do it for a higher and a greater purpose. And so we appreciate you just acknowledging what we do 24/7, 365, sometimes 366, to make sure our nation remains free and is always protected. I'm grateful for you, and I'm humbled for your acceptance, your support, and your endorsement of my campaign. Repeated in my household was, to whom much is given, much is required. And I'll say this, even though others have not always treated me with kindness and with love, it has always been my goal, no matter who you are, where you are, that I treat you with kindness and with love. And as I've grown older, I throw in compassion. My grandfather used to tell me, a smile, a kind word, or a compassionate embrace ain't never hurt nobody. And so I live my life that way daily, to the point of getting in trouble with my husband sometimes, because he'll say, why are you hugging them people? And I have to remind him, baby, that's just the way I was raised. In my 49 years of life, I'm telling you, I have been given a lot. I am truly blessed. So as long as the good Father above continues to put breath in my body, I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of giving back to do. I grew up in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I was raised by my mother and my maternal grandparents. And I'll tell you, they had some help from some feisty aunts, an uncle, and a very large community. That community included members of the clergy and the congregation of Williams Chapel, African Methodist Episcopal Church, and Jerusalem United Methodist Church. I got it on both sides. Come on now. It included neighbors, teachers, even some dudes we called, some country thugs. They had a name, they were called the Langley Road Crew. Y'all know them dudes I'm talking about. They ain't always gonna do right, but they all right with me. There are so many people from my childhood that I have to give credit to because of what was instilled in me, what was done for me, the help that was extended to me. And so all I can say today is thank you to them, because I stand on their shoulders, because I didn't get here by myself. They saw something in me many years ago that I didn't even recognize that I had within me. All I knew growing up was that I was the A-B student. So Ms. Hazel, you called it. I'm still that A-B student. I even graduated valedictorian of my high school class. But I still didn't know when I graduated from high school that I had that thing, that it. There were people in my life who pushed me and motivated me and encouraged me to do more than I wanted to do. They never let me settle. And because of those people, I got to experience and see a world that I never even imagined. A world that allowed me to work with presidential candidates, senators, members of Congress, cabinet members, general officers in the military, and senior executives in our federal government. Because of those people in my childhood, I got to move and shake in a world that included people like the late Johnny Cochran and state Supreme Court justices. Something I never thought I'd do as a young girl growing up in Orangeburg. That world showed me how our nation operates. it taught me how our nation works. My upbringing, my family teachings have inspired me, and they did inspire me to become an attorney. I went to law school because I wanted to help people. And I always told my family I would never be rich because I knew I had to help people who couldn't afford to pay for my services. That's why I do what I do. I'm grateful to every person in my lifetime with whom I've crossed paths, shook a hand, exchanged a kind word. I'm even grateful to those who shared a cruel word with me and about me from time to time. It's because of them that I am here today. I'm also grateful to the United States Air Force. I have to give the Air Force credit because the Air Force allowed me to earn several degrees. Several. I think I got 5, something like that. Not only that, it was the Air Force that finally got me to a point where I could see the leadership characteristics with which I was born. They used to ask us all the time, are leaders made or are they born? And it took me years to figure it out, but now I know I was born this way. And I was born this way for a reason. I have a purpose. And the Air Force helped me identify that purpose. My service in the Air Force taught me that I am a servant. I'm a helper. I'm here to advocate for the less fortunate. I'm here to fight for the underdog. I'm here to care for those who may not always be able to care for themselves. I'm here to give a voice to the voiceless. I'm here to make sure those that are ignored and unseen are seen and heard. My background, my training, my professional experience, along with my desire, my will, and my purpose to help others have brought me to this place today. I never dreamt of entering politics. I'll be honest with you, I hate politics. I've worked in it all my professional career, and I don't like the games that are played. However, I know that it would be selfish of me not to step into a world that I don't like at this moment in time in our history. I understand, I acknowledge, and I recognize that our community is calling for the skills that this nation, that the Air Force, that my family, that my community, that my good Lord above has invested in me right now. And for me not to share them is totally wrong. So I cannot remain silent. I cannot sit on my sofa in the comfort of my home. I cannot not do anything. I left the federal service in 2014 to focus on my children and my family. And as Terry and I struggled to build a family business, I got to spend time in our public schools. I quickly realized that I cannot focus just on my home. I cannot focus solely on my family. I met too many entrepreneurs in this community, too many parents, too many Prince Georgians who share my concerns for what's happening in our community. So, I transitioned and began a career as a community activist, as a child advocate. I met up with elected officials. I talked to them about what's going on in our community. I begged them to make changes. I made suggestions. I testified before the General Assembly. I've testified in Congress. I've testified here. I've testified there. I've cried for change. I've cried for help. After 6 years of doing all of that, like many of you, I'm tired. I'm weary. And I'm sad to say I began to lose hope. I lost hope to the point that Terry and I talked about packing our bags and leaving. The problem is, Prince George's is home for our
two children. Prince George's County has become our home. And it's not my business. It's not like me to leave a place without leaving it better than I found it.
That's right.
Terry and I do not believe in running away from challenges. He served as a special operator in the United States Air Force. I thank him too for his service, so I know he knows what it is to face danger. He did it for 20 plus years. I have never run away from a challenge, and I ain't about to start now.
Woo!
I promise you that if you elect me to be your county executive, I will use the leadership skills that were developed in me in the United States Air Force to lead this community to a better place. I will work to improve our schools. Time out for studying what's wrong. We know what's wrong. It's now time to fix it. I will do that. You will not hear me say we don't have the money in the budget. My job for you is to find a way to get to the yes. We'll find the money to fix our storm water and our flooding issues. We will find a way to give our senior citizens affordable housing. We will find a way to reduce the taxes. I'm tired of hearing people say Baltimore City and Prince George's County have the highest taxes in the state. We're going to find a way to fix that. Because we've invested our time, our money, our talents, our lives in this community. It's ours. It belongs to us. And we're going to work to keep it. And I'm going to lead the charge.
Come on now. Woo!
If you elect me, I promise you, I will put in place quality staff members who will help to find the results that you've been waiting for. In some instances, for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that's too long. How long is too long? It's now time. I hear you. Since August, I've been talking to community members about what you want to see in our home. I hear you. I hear you. And I won't stop hearing you. My job, if you so choose to hire me, is to make the change, to be the change that you've been asking for, demanding, and begging for a long time. My job as your leader will be to be the change you want to see. I promise you, I'm still that little country girl from South Carolina who ran around barefoot with little pickaninny pigtails in her head. The little girl that mama still has the big picture of missing her 2 front teeth. That's still me. She's still in there. She ain't going nowhere. No matter what happens, I'm still going to be me because that's all I know. But I tell you one thing, this is a people's campaign. And if the people choose me, I'm not going to change. You're going to see me show up in places. You'd be surprised to see a politician because remember, I'm not a politician. I'm just like you. I put these pants on this morning, one leg at a time. My farts stink. My burps are annoying. And I still have to wash my tail every day. I brush my teeth too. I'm just like you. So I will not stop being the people person that I've always been. I will continue to be out and about in the community. In places that they tell you the county executive shouldn't be, that's where you're going to find me. Because those people need a county executive too. All I ask of you from now until June 28, 2022 is keep ringing my phone. Keep sending me emails. Keep calling. You keep calling, I'll keep coming. As long as my car has wheels and gas, I'm there. The only thing that will stop me is my health. Thank God it's good. And if I need to be there for my children at home. Otherwise, I'll be at your door. People tell me stop saying that. My team said, don't say that because you can't be everywhere all the time. And that is true. I can't be everywhere all the time. But I will get to you as soon as I can. That's a promise.
because as a people person, as a public servant, I have to be accessible to you. So if I can't get there today, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll get by next week. I'm coming next month, but I promise you what I'm going to do is show up. What you will never hear me say is, it's not my problem. Because as long as I live in Prince George's County, whether I'm your county executive or not, your problem is my problem. Because we are one community. We are one county. We are one family. We're in this fight together. And if you let me, I promise you, until God says otherwise, until it's time for me to leave, I will sweat for a stronger Prince George's County. Thank you for coming today.
Let's go, Tonya. Let's go, Tonya.
Let's go, Tonya. Let's go, Tonya. Let's go, Tonya.
Thank you for being here.